Welcome to Nail School with me, Greg Salo. Wanted to go into some fundamental work with two different. So I get asked all the time, like what size brush do I use? I use number 12. I use my signature series brush. Now, in the kits, we have a number 9, right? And honestly, you are comfortable working with a bigger brush, then I would say, right, there's no reason why. But look, if you feel that it's too big, then again, let me just show you the differences between both so that for those of you guys who have this size brush compared to this size brush, you're going to be able to work out the differences. Okay, so they both require you to get some liquid. And what I mean by that is if you submerge your brush into the liquid, right, and you tap the side of your dish, you're going to pull down and bounce into the powder to get yourself a fluffy bead on one side of the brush. Okay. Now, if I'm working with a smaller size brush like a 9, I want to be able to load this up. If I wanted to get something the same size, I need to load it up with a lot of liquid. That means I need to barely touch it. I need to do the same thing. I need to pull down and bounce inside of the powder so that I could get one size bead, again, look at that, on one side of the brush. As you can see, it's relatively the same size. Okay, so this is just going to load up a lot more liquid easier than this. What I tend to do with this, because it's flatter surface too, because it's crimped, right? If I barely push onto the side and then I pull down and then bounce inside the powder, you're going to see this thing load up with a lot of liquid quite fast, okay? Where with a smaller size brush, you're going to have to really load this up so it's almost kind of dripping from the end. I barely touch it. I barely. So if I get it really, really wet and I barely touch this, then you're going to notice you have to pull down to the powder. Don't just set the brush inside the powder because it's not going to pick up. So if you pull down and then bounce, you're going to notice that you're going to get, again, a very, very nice bead on one side of the brush. Okay, that's huge. All right, so we'll go ahead and work out a couple of overlays. For those of you that are just getting into sculpting, the key to your success when it comes to doing acrylic nails is, first of all, being able to build out, whether you're building the tip or you're building the body, you have to be able to use the right consistency. So if you're using forms, right, you have to have the right consistency when you're building the tip. Now, in order to do that, right, I'm going to go ahead and pinch this, right? This is going to create a handle. Then you're going to notice that when you open this up, right, this handle is going to be very, very easy for you to mount on the front end. As you can see, I can literally get this completely straight to the very, very tip, and then I could secure the side. Now, if you are not comfortable holding the handle, what you can do is you can hold the arms out, and then what you can do is you can get it underneath, and then I could use my fingers to lightly rock it basically straight. You're going to notice from the side profile, look how straight that is. It's not angled down. It's dead straight, right? So for those of you guys who follow the videos on YouTube, it's the same pattern, right? Whether you're using it from the handle or you're using it from the arms, you still have to be able to get it tight here. Like I feel that a lot of beginners when they're working, they're trying to get it to the corners. You just need to get it tight here. The very, very front of the free edge is the most important part of the nail that you have to get it tight, right? So if you're getting this rocked on, again, you can see I'm holding the handle and I'm rocking this on, and then right when it's there, I can secure the side by holding, right, the forms here. So on the nail trainers is one thing. When you guys are working on the hands, the forms stick extremely well. It's very hard to get them off unless you're like peeling them off. Okay, so consistency wise, if I'm building a free edge, I don't want it to run all over the place. So in order for you to get perfection with that consistency, what you have to do when you bounce inside the powder, the easiest way to get clay-like is to remove the excess liquid from the back of the brush. See that? Boom. It turns like a matte color. And you're going to notice that when you set it to the form and you release it, it stays where you put it. So this is going to give me the ability to walk from the top of the bead, right? And I can get it to the corner. I can immediately go. I don't just shove this into the corner. I get it even with the growth channel, walk it from the top. Even with the growth channel, walk it from the top. Even with the growth channel, walk it to the top. And then what I could do, once I actually have it established, you notice the brush is totally clean. So from here, if I decided to walk back over the top, I'm not jumping from one side to the other. I'm getting it even, and then I'm starting from that position and I'm walking to the side so that I could get an even structure from side to side. I don't want it to be like that, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to get this as even as I can. So in order to do that, I am walking over the top, getting it tucked up, walking back over the top, getting it tucked up. And you're going to notice that, once I have an even structure built out, then I can feather the excess to the very, very front to create the desired length. All right, boom. So just like that. Okay, now that is always going to work extremely well when you're building the tips. When you're working with the body, what you're trying to do, remember, like this is just an extended version of this, correct? Right? So if you were to basically glue a tip on, all you're doing is creating a structure that looks like this. Right? It's plastic. Right? All you're doing is gluing that to the side. When you're sculpting a tip, the advantage that you have is like at this point, like if I wanted to really make this tight, then I can make this either pointed, right? Or I can make it as coffin, right? Or as round as I choose. And the most important thing is when you're looking at the side profile, right? You're going to notice that the end of the growth channel all the way to the very, very end of the free edge is completely straight. And it doesn't angle down. It's completely straight. So for all of you guys that are learning how to sculpt, you have to be able to build your free edges as a perfect extension from the end, right? This is the growth channel. This is the growth channel right here. Once you get to the end of the growth channel, basically you don't want it dipping down at that angle right here. You want to try to create as straight of a tip as you possibly can. Okay, so once we actually have this structured, and again, you're just trying to get it as even as you can from side to side. Now what we need to do is we need to be able to build the body. So we need a consistency that's going to self-level. If I submerge my brush, okay, now look, again, this is the big brush. If I was working with a smaller brush, right, again, what I need to be able to do is get myself a lot of liquid, barely touch, and then what I want to be able to do is pull, bounce, 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 okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to release. So I counted to 4, which is going to give me a beautiful self-leveling consistency that's going to move. You're going to notice that the bead starts to move down towards the stress area. So I hold the sides, and then what I do as soon as it passes the stress area, I'm not only bringing it back up, I'm pulling from the front of the bead down towards the tip, lightly guiding. I'm not using a lot of force. I'm using a very gentle blending motion. And you'll notice, right, as everything starts to work, my cuticle areas are absolutely perfect. Super tight, super tight, super tight. If there is a ledge right there, the advantage of this consistency, because we are in a self-leveling state, is if I pulled from the side, look at this, if I brought this up and I actually pulled forward, you're going to notice that it contours really tight towards the sidewalls as well as the cuticle area, right? So the key is trying to get it into a position where as you're blending it forward, right, this is going to self-level, right? This is going to self-level into perfection, right? And also give me the ability to start feathering it down towards the free edge. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to be able to secure the tip. So I need a blending bead for the front. I'm going to submerge. Now I need to pull liquid out of the brush. So I need to make sure that I pull a firm amount, pull down, bounce, bounce, bounce. If you choose to remove a little bit of liquid, that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to set this in between the body and the missing area. I'm going to pull back. Now, in order for me to get it over the tip, what I'm going to do is use the body of the brush, and I'm just walking it from side to side. I'm not brushing it forward. This is going to give you the ability to blend it into the body and then work that excess product over the very, very tip, just like that. Right. So this again is going to be the fundamentals of sculpting, right? This is going to give you the ability to work the product. And even at this point, right, as it starts to set, you're going to notice I'm start to blend it forward. But again, I got great upper arch. I got great cuticle areas. My sidewalls are dead straight. I got an even structure from side to side. Everything is well built so that it's ready to rock and roll. Again, going back to what you need to create perfection. Now you have to remember, when I submerge my brush, and again, I'll go back to my signature series. If I submerge my brush and I tap, if I just do this, if I just hold my brush in the powder like this, what ends up happening, you're going to notice, is it falls back inside the powder because there's too much liquid, right? The weight is going to basically pull it. So for all of you guys that are starting and you're thinking like, I got to get it, 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 what you're going to end up getting is a gigantic asteroid on the end of your brush, right? Either a giant booger or an asteroid. You don't want that. You want something that is going to self-level into perfection so that you don't have to physically do a lot of work. It's a matter of touching around the edge, right? It's a matter of holding it to the side. So you're going to notice, again, I don't hold the brush straight. I mean, I don't hold the finger straight. A lot of beginners make the mistake when they're working the cuticle area is they pick it up and then they do this. They keep the finger straight and then they end up shoving it to the back like this, right? And then what you're going to notice is that everything ends up running down towards the cuticle area and creating this mushroom cloud. That is going to get you absolutely nowhere. It's going to basically flood the cuticle areas. It's going to frustrate you and you're going to want to stop doing this. Okay, so instead of setting it down like this, with the finger flat, take a look at this. I want you to angle the finger, right? I'm going to bring this out so that you guys can see. But you're going to notice as I'm balancing my hand as I'm working, I want to try to rest the brush in my hand like this so that I have great connection. And then you're going to notice that the finger is basically pointed down towards the towel. My brush is going to be straight. That way, when I set it down, what I end up creating, right? If this was the cuticle area, right? If this was the nail pointed down, right, towards, if that's the natural nail and that's pointed down towards the towel, and let's say you build the tip, what we're trying to do when we set the bead down to the back end, we're using the tip of the brush, right? So once we press this, it's going to create that, right? We're trying to create that in the back end. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you have a bead that basically moves like that, right? Not like that. You don't want it to move super quick. You want it to be like, smooth, right? So what we're going to end up doing, check this out. Let me show you guys. We take the right amount of liquid. If I submerge my brush and I tap, if I and again, I'm working with cover pink. So for those of you guys who have core, I want you guys to count to about 5, right? So pull down, bounce, 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 bounce. Take a look at the angle, right? Look at this, right? Even if it's on the front end of my brush, not a big deal. But for those of you guys, if it gets in your way, then again, pick yourself up another bead, pull down, bounce, 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 clean, clean. 1, 2, 3, 4. At 5, release. Now watch the very, very tip. Lightly touch around. Then if it starts to buckle out towards the side, all I want you to do is hold it back in place. Hold it back in place, right? Hold it back in place. Then from the front, start pulling from the corner and the front of the bead. If it gets away, you could always take the edge and again, just from underneath, right? Like if it starts to get underneath, you could take the wedge and just get it right underneath to hold it. So it brings it back up, and then once you're using the side of the brush to bring it back up into shape, you're going to notice that it's not going to get away from you anymore. This is going to give you the perfect opportunity to get your brush flat. If you needed to feather the sides, you're going to notice, right? Like if I'm looking down here, right down the barrel of the nail, you notice that it contours like this. I don't have like this block. I have a really contoured edge. I have a very contoured back end. But is this shape? Yeah, this shape, dude. This is the fundamental. I just saw someone's comment. Shape, yes. You have to remember that when we're doing nails, right? We're focusing on cuticle area. Like if you're looking at the nail from the side, right? You're trying to create this in the back. So whatever length you're going to doesn't matter. The cuticle area here always has to be flush to the natural nail, right? And so again, like if you're building certain shapes, right? And again, it doesn't matter what this is, right? In order for you, this is an overlay. It always starts with this fundamental. If you're trying to get to building out a shape after it's filed out where you have a great upper arch, right? You have a structure where everything looks completely even from side to side and there is enough basically support. This is the key to doing it. This again is just the fundamental to that part of the nail right there, not the whole entire thing. This part here is a matter of being able to build out the tip. This part here is you being able to overlay, right? So that you're able to get it into a position where you have enough structure all the way through. All right. Anyways, wanted to be able to cover that today. I hope that helps out tremendously. If you guys have any questions, feel free, right, to get in touch. Always here to help you guys through your nail journey. Again, hit us up on TikTok. For those of you guys who have questions, you could always call here at home office, 1-800-777-9170. Talk to customer service. You can always jump online, www.youngnails.com. Use YouTube. It's an amazing gallery of thousands of videos for you guys to be able to study. Again, if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. I'll see you guys at Nail School next episode. Appreciate you. Have a great day. Peace.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. Sub and subscribe and